Energy is meant to be recycled. And the main ways that I talk about recycling energy is self-preservation and communal energy. First, when you have self-preservation energy, this is where you're receiving. You receive that energy to utilize it as energy, just how we do food, water, sun, or anything else that we ingest to then get the energy and the nutrients to let our body function. That is receiving energy. But just like anything else, if we overeat, overdrink, stay out in the sun too long, it starts to do damage to the body. So we want to make sure that we're utilizing our body in a way that utilizes energy, that it doesn't go to waste. So this means being out in the sun only for a certain amount so you don't get burned. Eating as much as you can that you need, not overeating until you feel stuffed and sore, right? That's where we're oversaturating ourselves. We tend to do this when we're by ourselves because we're trying to figure out how to balance the energy that we're receiving by way of loving the self, which can sometimes be over loving the self. And I say, this has been me before when I get bored and I'm at home and I'm in my little comfort spot and months go by where I haven't really talked to anybody or seen someone, and I'm starting to get a little thick. I'm in my saturation energy. That's when I'm like, okay, it's time to go back and give some of that energy to the community. Communal energy is when I go out on a walk. You're going to see people. You're going to be in nature. You're receiving from the universe now, right? You're also giving energy back because remember, we breathe and exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide and all that. So we're helping, right? That's an energy exchange. Sitting in the house, you're not really energy exchanging, right? If out in nature, you're energy exchanging. So this is where it's understanding that sometimes the body needs to be drained, right? It has too many thoughts, too much energy, too many emotions, and it needs to go put it somewhere. So this is why it's important to have that self-healing journey so that you say, okay, I'm oversaturated, I need to put this energy somewhere. Communal energy, this is where you give away. So when you feel overly saturated and you have nothing to do, you're bored, you have all the time in the world, and you don't know what to do. Communal energy is when you go help a friend, or you go hang out with your family, or you go join a group or something like that, where now you're a part of a unit and that energy that you have is being used towards something that's going to help others, right? It doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be big, it's just something that you understand. I have to get rid of this energy if I want to receive more energy, because the universe loves to give to things that receive in a way that is a vessel for them to keep working through. So if you are just a cup and every time you get full, you pour it out and give it to somebody else, the universe is going to be like, okay, well, they're not going to retain it long enough, so I'm not going to give it to them right away. I'm going to wait until they learn how to have a stronger foundation. But if the universe pours into you and it sees that you can hold that foundation, but it's overflowing, then it's like, okay, at some point it's going to stop giving to you because it's like, you are drowning in your own juices. I need you to give some of this away, right? The other part of that is, let's say you give all of your energy away. There's nothing to pour into the cup. The universe is just going to start believing you don't want it, so it's not going to come to you at all. That's why I ask people sometimes when you're hanging out with a lot of people and you're starting to feel frazzled and fried and overwhelmed, like you're going to every party, every event, you're always saying yes, but you don't feel like you're getting anything in return. That means that you're giving too much energy away. And it's time to pull back and go back and replenish yourself. And that's self-love, self-care, living in your own space, all up in your own juice and energy, giving that energy back to you versus others. So this might sound confusing a little bit, but I mean, if it makes sense to those, it makes sense to him. It needs to make sense too. But I've learned that it's about a balance, right? I can sit in the house all day and learn every subject and become the most knowledgeable person ever. But if I'm not giving it back, what's the point, right? At some level, it becomes ego. But if I'm learning all this knowledge and I feel like I'm an expert in it, then I go give it back. And that's through education, writing, sharing knowledge with friends, simply just making sure that the next cycle of energies and humans and generations have information that they can reflect on and basically go back and ask questions of, so that they can make sense of what we are as a species. Because all energy is recycled. It's recycled through the trees, the water, other species, the earth, the soil, how we grow our food, right? So there's nothing in the universe, or at least in the Gaia universe here on Earth, where it doesn't give back, unless it's a human. But for every other animal, every other species, they give back in some way, right? Just like a prey, they have to go get their little victims because there might be an oversaturation of that species. And so that's why sometimes you'll have more gazelles than lions, right? Prey predator. So it's all about the balance. That's what the universe is about. I'm not saying go be a predator goon. I'm just saying there are balances within the universe of how energy is meant to be allocated and dealt out to the others as well as self. So when you see that you have a plethora of energy and you're starting to feel bored and you have everything in your life that you need, that means you need to go find something to give back to, or something to create, or just do something with that energy so that the universe knows, okay, I can keep using this vessel because they're not a hoarder, right? Versus the same thing with someone who's always giving their energy away, they're always depleting themselves and asking, why does nothing good happen for me? Because the universe doesn't trust you. I'm not saying that the universe doesn't want to help you, but energy is energy. So if we have the energy of mistrust, so does the universe, because we're working through something that's telling us, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold all this weight. I don't think it has enough space inside of it. And the universe has to do that based on how we work through our stuff. That's what I believe. Again, you don't have to believe it, but this is just something that helps me work through my emotions when I'm dealing with them or working through something in life where I'm like, okay, what's next? So let energy recycle through you. Let it be used, let it be utilized for yourself first. And then if you have any byproduct or any overflow, give it away. Give it to those who need it. Give it to things that you believe in. Give it to things that matter to you. If you're starting to feel depleted and you're feeling drained and you don't have energy, that means take a break, pull yourself back, set boundaries, get rest, let yourself replenish so that the universe knows you are disciplined in working with it so that it wants to keep integrating you into this game called life. Again, these are my beliefs. This is how I got to this state of being, because I learned no matter what happens, good or bad, energy is energy, right? If you're in a good mood or a bad mood, you still got to eat and drink, right? The body's like, where's my energy supply? So that's one of the things that I always realize. It's like functionally, we have to take care of the foundation first. And so when we understand that energy needs us just as much as we need energy, then you start becoming more reciprocal and dualistic to the game of life, which then it doesn't feel so polarized and you don't have to feel so oversaturated or so drained. You can just be replenished. So I hope that makes sense. Take care of yourselves. Love ya.